everybody, welcome back. James Phifer, and today I've got one for new board members. So you did it. You raised your hand. Maybe somebody asked you to run. Maybe you were frustrated enough that you decided to do something about it. Or maybe your neighbor talked you into it over a beer at the pool. And so now here you are. You are a board member. First, congratulations, genuinely. The fact that you're willing to volunteer your time to run a community that your neighbors live in, I think it says something about who you are. But I also manage hundreds of communities across Colorado, and I've watched a lot of good people sit down in that first board meeting and immediately start to do things that are going to make their lives harder. Not because they're bad people, because nobody told them what they were actually signing up for. And that's what today is about, the first 90 days. But I wish every new board member knew before they walked into that room. So welcome back to the HOA Life. I'm James Phifer, owner and CEO of ACCU. This show exists because there is a massive gap between what people think an HOA is and what it actually takes to run one well. Today's episode is for new board members, the person who just got elected, the one who's maybe a little nervous, a little fired up, or maybe even both. So let's get into it. The first thing I need you to understand, and this is the most important thing I'm going to say this entire episode, is what your role actually is. You're the board. You're the governing body. You set policy, you approve budgets, you make decisions that shape what kind of community you're going to be. You're not the manager. Your management company is there to execute, to communicate, to handle the day-to-day operations. But here's where things go wrong almost immediately for new board members. The second they're elected, they start doing the manager's job. They start fielding calls from neighbors. They start making promises. They start telling contractors what to do. And then suddenly the management company doesn't know what the board has said. The contractor doesn't know who to listen to. And the neighbors who got a different answer from you than they got from the management company is upset at everyone. Your job is governance, strategy, decision. Your manager's job is execution. The cleaner you keep that line, the better everything works for everyone, including you. All right, number 2, you represent everyone. Here's something that catches a lot of new board members off guard. You ran on an issue, or you were elected by a group of neighbors with strong opinions about something, the parking rules, the landscaping, the pool hours, whatever it was. Those people expect you to champion their position, and you can. That's part of your job. But the moment you're sworn in, you represent every homeowner in the community, including the ones who didn't vote for you, including the ones who disagree with you, including the quiet ones who never come to meetings but pay their dues every month because they want the common areas maintained. Fiduciary duty is a term that gets thrown around a lot. What this means in practice is this. You have a legal obligation to act in the best interest of the community as a whole, not your friends, not your faction, not yourself. Boards get sued. Individual board members can be named in lawsuits, and when they've made decisions that were self-interested or ignored the governing documents. So when you walk into a room, you're not a representative of your constituency, you're a trustee of the community. Number 3, read the documents, please. I know they're long. They're written by attorneys. They're not exactly like beach reading. I understand, but please read them anyway. Your community has a set of governing documents, your declarations, your bylaws, your rules and regulations, etc. These documents tell you what the HOA is responsible for, what the homeowner is responsible for, and what the board can and can't do, and how decisions are supposed to be made. The number of times I've seen board make a decision they couldn't legally make because they didn't know their own documents is significant. You don't have to memorize them, but you need to know what's in them. Know who maintains what. Know what requires a homeowner vote versus a board vote. Know what your insurance covers, and more importantly, what it doesn't. If there's one homework assignment you have in the next 30 days, that is it. Number 4, the mailbox problem. This one's very real, and I want to spend a minute on it because I see it destroy communities. You live in your community. You see your neighbors. You run into them at the mailbox, at the dog park, maybe you have a gym, right? And they're going to tell you things. They're going to complain about landscaping. They're going to say the management company doesn't answer emails fast enough. Or they're going to have strong opinions about the guy in building 3 who parks in 2 parking spots. And they're going to look at you because you're on the board, expecting you to do something about it. So here's the rule. Listen with empathy. Act through process. You can say, I hear you. I appreciate you telling me this. The right way to get this addressed is through the community manager or come to a board meeting. What you cannot do is promise action on the spot or go handle it yourself. Because here's what happens when you do. That neighbor tells 3 other neighbors what you said you do. The manager doesn't know about it. The other board members don't know about it. And when it doesn't actually happen the way that you described, you're the one who's going to look like they failed. The process exists to protect you as much as it exists to serve the community. So 5, boards act as a body. This is one that I see the most experienced board members get tripped up on. You don't have authority as an individual board member. The board has authority. Decisions get made in meetings, properly noticed and properly documented. The board votes, the majority rules. Here's where it gets complicated. What do you do when you disagree with a board decision? You vote your conscience in the meeting. If the vote goes against you, the board has made a decision, and as a board member, you now have an obligation to support that decision publicly. Not because you've changed your mind, but because you're part of a governing body. And governing bodies that undermine their own decisions in public destroy trust with the community, with the management company, with vendors, with everyone. That's what it means to serve. So next, I want to talk about burnout because this is real. I'm going to be honest with you about something. Being a board member, it's a lot. People serving on active HOA boards report spending 10 to 20 hours a week on association matters. That doesn't account for the mental load of carrying your neighbor's frustrations home with you. So there's this always on pressure to this role that nobody prepares you for. Every time you walk to the mailbox, every time you see your neighbor at the grocery store, every time someone sends you a message that says, hey, quick question, you're going to need to set limits, not because you don't care, but because the people who don't set limits are the ones who burn out, resign, and leave the board worse off than when they started. Use your management company. Direct the communication through proper channels. Let the system do its job. You being reachable 24 hours a day is not a service to your community. It's a path to you not being on the board in 6 months. The goal is for you to be a great board member for a long time, and that requires some sustainability. There are roughly 2.5 million Americans serving on HOA boards right now. It's an enormous number of people volunteering their time to make sure that their neighbors' homes are maintained and their communities are run well. The investment that they've placed is protected. Most of them don't get thank you notes. Most of them deal in more frustration than gratitude. But the communities that are well run, have thoughtful, informed board members are the ones that hold their property value. They're the ones where neighbors feel a sense of connection. You have more influence over the quality of life in your community than you probably realize. And that is not a burden. It's an opportunity. So welcome to the board. Read the documents, trust the process, work with your management team, and set some limits for yourself. And remember, what you're doing actually matters. So that's it for today. If you're a new board member or you just listen to this and you have questions, or if you're a manager who wants to send this to a board that needs to hear it, I want to know about it. You can find me on LinkedIn or on YouTube at the HOA Life. And if you haven't already, subscribe. We're putting out content that I believe is going to change how the industry operates. So I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.